Do you get paid for playing for England?
Good question. This is a very good question. Okay. Hello everybody, welcome to another Fozcast. I'm today joined by my mate Rhino Legs Tom. Say hello.
Hello.
And Frank the editor.
Hello.
Frank has just recently been married. He's had a week off work and the whole place nearly burnt down to a crisp and almost ground to a halt without him. But you're back now, mate. How is married life treating you?
Married life is banging. Absolutely love it.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, it's cracking, yeah.
It's not true what they say about when you get married then.
Banging's a
you're
good
both
word.
married.
I like it.
Yeah,
You're both married?
I think you missed a joke there.
Anyway, it is currently the international break in football. There are no Premier League fixtures this weekend. It is country versus country all over the world. So we thought we would bring to you today a special podcast dedicated to all of the goings on around the international break. What happens when the players go away? What happens back at the football clubs? All those tiny burning little questions that nobody really knows the answers to unless you're a footballer. We're going to talk about them today and we're going to give you as much as we can the answers to them. Right, lads?
Yep.
Tom has prepared a load of questions and I don't actually know what any of them are, but it'll be fine. We'll get through it. Let's go, lads.
Let's get into it. Okay, so international break. We need to know everything about it because me and Frank, we are fans and we've probably got all the nerdy questions that people probably want to know. So before we start off with that, we'll talk about your England career. Okay, so what years were you involved, first and foremost?
Okay, I think I first got involved in 2005. My very first taste of international football, it was off the back of my very first season playing professional football. I was on loan at Watford. We had just been promoted.
And you got called up that year?
Yeah, well, we just won promotion through the playoffs against Leeds in the final. So we're in the Premier League the next season. The season has just finished and I went away on holiday to Dubai for, I think, 2 weeks or something like that. Anyway, we got out to Dubai and it was roasting. It was like 40 degrees. Honestly, it was stupid. You know the ones where it's so hot, you have to wear flip-flops because you can't put your feet on the sand. It was miserable. It was way too hot. Anyway, we're 2 or 3 days into this trip. And by the way, it was my first time going out to Dubai. The trip cost me $7,000, right? So I remember thinking, geez, this is an expensive holiday. This better be belting. Anyway, $7,000 it cost me, right? And we were 2 or 3 days in. And the day before, Rob Green was playing for, I think it was like England B team back then or something, or the reserve team or whatever. And he did this horrible injury to his groin where he's like ripped the bloody bone off and he did all sorts to it. A horrible injury. He's out for like 4 or 5 months. Anyway, he was the current 4th choice goalkeeper with England. So they needed somebody else to come and join the squad to do training, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm 2 or 3 days in. I get a voicemail on my phone saying, "Hi Ben, this is Michelle, the England secretary. Rob Green's unfortunately gone down for a really bad injury. He's going to be out for a while and we need you to come back basically and join up with the England team." And again, it's that classic thing of you don't know if somebody's taking the mick or not, but the voice sounded very sincere on the thing. So I was pretty sure it was what it was. And couple it with the fact that I saw Rob had had a serious injury. So anyway, I was sort of half buzzing to come back anyway because it was too hot. It was roasting. But it was amazing though. One of the first things I could think of, geez, this has cost me $7,000 this holiday. Yeah. Like, am I going to get the money back? But you don't want to go and ask the secretary like, can I get my money back from my thing?
I'm up for playing, however.
Yeah, but like, would it be possible? So anyway,
they sorted it, didn't they?
England were wicked, mate. They sorted everything. Like the next flights were the next day, straight back, business class flights, landed. There was actually a Sky Sports cameraman was waiting for us at the arrivals part of wherever it was, Heathrow or whatever. And to be fair, he was sound. Like we got off the plane and we were walking through and he was like, "Hi Ben, I'm from Sky. Do you mind if I just sort of like, I'll stand over here and you just walk towards me and show that you're walking back through?" I was like, "Yeah, sweet, not a problem." Anyway, landed, got back, met the team up at the Grove because we used to always be at the Grove Hotel in London. It's actually really near Watford. And Yeah, they were class. They were absolutely wicked. Sven Goran Eriksson was a manager at the time. I didn't have too many dealings with him. He was actually quite a quiet bloke, you know. He was very kind of reserved, kept himself to himself. His coaches did a lot of the training and the tactics and all that kind of stuff. But when it came to match day, that's when he did his bit. But I always thought he was quite a nice guy, quite a decent bloke, to be fair.
And when did you finish with England?
When I actually retired, I've never fully properly retired, did I? I think
when did you stop getting picked?
I think it was after the Rio World Cup in 2014. Roy Hodgson was the manager, and it got to that stage where there were actually quite a few good young goalkeepers knocking about that I kind of thought they don't really need me anymore. I was always one of the older goalkeepers anyway, so I was always like 32, 33, and they you know, it was kind of this murmurings that they really wanted to focus on youth, not necessarily just with the goalkeepers, but for the whole team. So it was kind of inevitable, really, that they wanted to start picking the younger goalkeepers. But it was fine with me. I won't lie to you. It was absolutely fine with me because I'd had that many knee injuries in the past that I just wanted to sort of focus on prolonging my actual playing career, my football career, week to week, Saturday to Saturday. And looking back, it was without doubt the best decision to do it as well.
That's a big thing, isn't it? When people talk about international football and stopping it to prolong the career, I think a lot of people think it's a cop-out.
Jamie Vardy did it, didn't he? Jamie Vardy did it. He was probably 6 years ago. You honestly, if Jamie Vardy would have carried on playing, he would have scored some serious goals for England.
Yeah, he would have done.
But I honestly think he's made the best decision, because you look at him now, he's still like, how old is Jamie Vardy? 33, 34?
I think he is.
Fit as a fiddle still, isn't he? He is fit as a fiddle. He's out there on a Saturday afternoon and he looks like he's still 22, 23. Yeah, runs his socks off, still sharp as you like. And I guarantee you that is because that when the international break comes along, it's a chance for him to properly relax. Rest his body, rest his mind, so he's good for the next Saturday when it comes to playing for Leicester.
Mbappe mentioned yesterday he might step down from international.
What?
Yeah.
Mbappe?
Yeah.
And he's just won a World Cup, so might as well pie him off.
Yeah. But it's on the back end of his penalty miss. He's getting a lot of hate. And also, he wants to focus on club football.
Wow, that is incredible. How old is Mbappe? 21, 22?
21.
Wow,
that's incredible, right? What do you think on that?
I honestly do not know what to make of that. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't seen the news about that or anything like that. It's not official.
I think it's not.
It's kind of rumours and stuff like that.
He hasn't said he's going to step down. It's just more like he's mentioned he's happy to step down from the club.
I guarantee you a massive part of that would have been the negative criticism that he received after obviously missing the penalty and all that kind of stuff, and not having the best of Euros. I guarantee you a lot of it will be down to that, because even at 21 years old, the weight of expectation and what people wanted him to do, and I'm not saying he didn't deliver, but he didn't have the best of Euros. But that's the way football goes sometimes. You're never going to be able to play 10 out of 10 every single week, but he did get an awful lot of criticism. So I feel sorry for the guy, you know. If he wants to sort of take himself out of the equation for a few years, focus on football, focus on playing for PSG or Real Madrid or wherever he's going to go, I can't knock him. I can't blame him, to be perfectly honest with you, because if he can get his head down and really start to show the world what he's capable of, and then in 2, 3, 4 years' time said, right, cool, I'm good to go now. Yeah, I think it'll benefit everybody.
I think so. Going back to when you got the call up and everything, can you talk about your sort of family reactions and how the dynamic worked within your house with your wife and your parents and stuff? Tell us about the phone call to your mum and dad.
Yeah, that phone call was pretty cool because they're the first person you tell, the first people you tell. And like I say, I'm on holiday, I'm in Dubai, I'm sweating my tits off, and
you're always sweating your tits off.
Yeah, I'm always sweating my tits off anyway, but I was super sweating my tits off. And that's a lovely phone call to make. That is like I can imagine as a parent, like, you know what I mean, I've got kids now, and I can imagine as a parent when your son rings you and says, I've been called up to the England team.
You just start crying.
Oh my God, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And it was exactly that, like ringing up my mum and dad, and I was, it was put mum on, put it on speaker so everybody can hear. And it's I've been called up to the England team. I'm heading back now, and it's just sort of, they're just buzzing.
That's
like
incredible,
the pride and all that kind of stuff is absolutely massive. That is one of the nicest phone calls you can make,
but
for
it's
sure.
a ripple effect. We've talked about it before, but it's a ripple effect because you rang me, you rang Luke, you rang all your mates and stuff like that, and it is like it's that pride like of your mates by association, and then wider than that, friends of friends, and then the local community, Lillington where we grew up, and then Leamington, and it gets around, and it's like
it does get
such
around,
a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah,
for
it is.
everyone.
I remember when I first signed for United, the like you say, that ripple effect of just coming from Leamington, where there's never really been anybody major make it sort of sporting wise or anything like that. The word was out that there's that kid that lives in Lillington and he's gone to play for Man United.
That rat bag.
That little rat bag chap.
Hood rat.
Literally, that little hood rat that used to hang around on the street corners, down the park and all that kind of stuff. He's made it. He's gone to Manchester United. Like it's the same sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It is nice though. It's good to see those sort of stories and to see people from sort of whatever background make it and hit the big time. And it's wicked. Yeah,
it is class. And with looking back on your England career now, so for you were number 2 for number 3, really. So do you look back and think, I wish I got more caps, or I should have got more caps?
No, I don't. Again, not at all. I really don't. I think I've got 8 or 9 caps. I'm not fully sure, but I think one of my biggest achievements in my football career is actually playing in a World Cup, because I got to play the 3rd game against Costa Rica at the Rio World Cup in 2014. I actually got to play the whole game, and that for me was just a massive kind of bucket list thing. To say that I played in a World Cup was something that was probably beyond my wildest of dreams. But I'll never look back. I don't think I'll look back at any part of my career and sort of think, I could have done this or should have done this. And I'm very much a believer of everything happened for a reason, and everything sort of shapes and molds you and makes you learn in a certain way. And I'm always thankful for everything that I've done. Like I say, even if like Man United, it might not have worked out for me. England, I might not have really got much game time, but I still think you can learn so much from all these things.
It is. I've got a slightly different theory in the fact that you finished with England at what? So 2000 and where was Brazil? Sorry.
Brazil was 2014, but I did take a little bit of a few years off before that, didn't I? When Capello was manager.
But 7 years ago, at 31, I think the best years of your career have been from 31 onwards.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because you're a goalkeeper,
and
we've talked about it again in the past. But a big part of being a goalkeeper is judgment, which comes with age,
experience, is experience. I totally agree. I think everyone's different completely, and I can only talk for myself, but from the age of 30 onwards is when you really start to dial into who you are as a goalkeeper. Like I say, once you realise who you are as a person, then you can really dial into what you are as a footballer. And I just mastered my kind of limitations and capabilities, really. I made sure that I operated in between those two parameters, and I don't think you can go far wrong. I think as long as you're honest with yourself, and if you've messed up, you've messed up, and it is, again, I love saying it is what it is, but it is what it is. You're never ever gonna just go through life plain sailing. You're gonna make mistakes, gonna be ups and downs and stuff like that. As long as you can own it and go, sorry, hold your hands up, but move on and not let it affect you. Boom, you've smashed it.
Favourite match for England that you played?
Favourite match for England was probably my England debut, actually. It's got to be my England debut against Spain. I actually played against some really big countries. I played Spain, against Brazil, I played France. I played some decent games, to be fair. But I'd definitely say my England debut, it was against Spain. We were playing at Old Trafford. We actually lost the game 1-0. I've got this wicked picture at home of Andres Iniesta scored the goal. It was a beautiful goal as well. He was about 25 yards out, right?
I know the picture.
Put it out onto his right.
Canvas, didn't you?
Yeah, put it out onto his right foot, bent it in the top corner. As soon as it left his foot, right, I'm thinking, shit, this is a goal. Because as a goalie, right? You know when it's going in the back of the net. But I've also got in the back of my mind, it's my England debut. It's on telly, live, I need to dive for this full blast. I need to give it everything I've got to show people that I'm really trying.
So when people say that's for the cameras, that's a thing.
It was, I think when people say that's for the cameras, it means that you're making a camera save. Like you're making them a meal of it. You're making the most of it. So if
it's down someone's throat and they dive and...
Yeah, that's making a meal of it. That's doing it for the cameras. Okay. This was just so that I could show everybody. I did everything I could to try and save that ball. So nobody then could say the goalie hasn't even moved. Because I hate it when people say that, the goalie hasn't even moved. A lot of the time the goalie hasn't moved because he just knows that he's not going to save it. And there's no point in even trying to dive for it. But I had in the back of my head, this is my England debut, you literally go for everything. Do you know what I mean? If he's got an open goal and you're nowhere near it, still go for it. And at least then nobody can point any fingers or accuse you of anything.
So this is a weird question, but I think I want to spend just a couple of minutes.
I love the weird questions,
talking about
Frank.
it.
We like the weird questions.
King of weird questions.
He's a weird guy, though.
He's just not the first time you've said that. I don't think you're that weird.
Quirky, mate. I don't mean weird. I mean quirky.
It's not that weird, actually. Now we've bigged it up.
Levels.
I just want to talk about your actual physical caps, like the cap you receive after a game. Do you get it after the game? Do you get it on the day? Do you get it a few days later? Is it in the post?
Pick it up and out of a bag on the way out the change room.
Have you ever worn it? Do you wear it? Do you get pissed in it? Like, what do you do with these caps? Because if I had one, mate, I'd be wearing it every day.
When we go round for a Sunday roast, I'll wear one, he'll wear one, and we just drink a bottle of Johnny Blue and eat roast potatoes.
Yeah, but that's what we do. We bowl around naked with it on and all sorts.
How do you receive them?
So when you play whatever international game it is, this is how it works for England anyway. And I know that some countries are completely different. Some countries, if it's like a European qualifying game and you might be in the group where there's like you'll be playing 8 games in that group, you might only get one cap and it will be embroidered on the peak of it every single game that you played in that qualifying group, so you'd only get the one cap.
That's tight.
But yeah, obviously it counts. If you've played in 7 or 8 games, you've still got 7 or 8 caps. That's how it works. But you only get one physical cap.
Wow.
But with England, you get a cap for every single game, right? And to be fair, they're lovely caps. They're proper, like, real quality material. It's
like
sort of
crickety type.
Yeah, it's like the suede-y thing. It's got this lovely tassel on it and all that kind of stuff. The real nice sort of embellished England badge.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, on the peak of it, it will be whether it's a qualifier, it would say international qualifier, European qualifier, it will be, and then it will be England versus whoever, and then underneath it would say the date. So you'd play the game. So say, for example, I played the game tomorrow. I won't get that cap for probably... it would be 6 weeks or 2 months or so. And what they normally do is, if you've got another international break in that next 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever, you would probably pick it up when you go next meet up with the England team and the England squad. But if there isn't another international break for maybe 5-6 months or something, they will just send it to your football club. And like they'll just send it in a box with or of however many you might have accrued along the time or something like that. So that's how you actually receive them. So I've got all my caps are at home. And I just sort of keep them in plastic bags, really, like just to keep them safe and dry. And they're in a big box where, like I say, again, I keep it all dry. Are we going to put them in the office? Are we going to bring them into the office? Yeah, I'm going to bring them into the office. Yeah, I'll bring them all into the office. We'll put them in like a nice little frame or something in the office.
We'll just wear them around the office.
I don't want your sweaty hair on it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're cool caps, to be fair. They are. They're pretty cool. Real nice. They're like high quality material, though. That's the thing. Yeah, really nice.
Because I don't feel like footballers now, they don't really share like Instagram posts of their caps and stuff.
You'd would, wouldn't you?
Because I would, if I got given a cap,
it'd be big time.
It'd be on Instagram instantly.
Yeah,
but,
first, I think you'd probably show off your first one. I think you'd always show off your first one just for the pride of it and how buzzing you are to have actually received a cap. Because, like I say, most people don't know how it works. Do you actually get a cap? Why is it called a cap? Because you receive a cap. But yeah, I'd say probably maybe show off your first one. Anything that might be really, really sort of like incredible achievement for winning a competition, winning a cup or World Cup, or fair enough. But other than that, you just sort of add it to the pile, really.
We'll get a photo up of you holding your caps, yeah?
Yeah, sweet as enough.
We'll do that right now.
Ding. Ding, there you go, boom, right there.
Okay, right, couple of quick fire ones then on England. Do you get paid for playing for England?
Good question. This is a very good question. Okay.
So I'm not giving up my time for nothing.
Yeah, so this is how it works, all right? This is how it works with regards to when you'll go away with your international team. And every international team is different. Every country does it differently. They will... you know what I mean? Some international countries will pay you literally for every game you play like a set amount of money, and it could be good money as well. The way England work is you get a match fee for playing the game. It's nothing major. It's maybe, I say nothing major in the grand...
in broader football terms.
In broader football terms, it's nothing major. You might be talking $2,000 a game or something, but every single player's match fee has always been signed off to charity. We always give it away to charity, right? What you do get is a percentage of the sponsorship. Okay, so every company that sponsors an international team, so let's just talk about England, for example. Everybody that is a sponsor of England, whether it's McDonald's or like Carlsberg, Heineken, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter. All of that gets put into a big pot. The players will then receive a certain percent, and I don't know the exact amount. I can't be sure. I'll throw something out there like maybe it's 20% or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, the players will then get a pro rata percentage, 20% or something of that amount, and it will go, and that's basically how much the players will receive from playing for England.
I don't think you knew that when you kind of first started, because I remember coming up to Manchester, and I remember we'd been out somewhere, probably a game or something. Came back to your house, and you'd had some post, and you opened it and was like,
It's a check.
It's a check from England team in relation to, it was a Marks and Spencer shoot you did.
Yeah.
And it was like a decent check.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, that's a bonus. And you were almost a bit surprised.
There's other things that you can do as well where, so if you're selected to go, and so you might not be with the England team or on international duty or anything, like it could be just like a Saturday in between Premier League games, but if the England media team need you to do something for them, like turn up to an event, turn up to like a school dressed in your England tracksuit, and you're doing it for the England team, that is an individual sponsorship where you will get paid individually for that. And again, it's decent money. Like I can't give you an exact figure, but it would be a decent whack of money. It'd be, you know what I mean? It's a paid gig anyway. So that's another way that you can get paid for being with the England squad.
So going back to the original like England payment, do you have to like sign that off yourself? Does someone go up to you and says, do you want to give your part to charity? Or do they just say everyone's going to charity?
Yeah, the match fees. Yeah, that's...
So they don't ask you personally. Do you want to give...
it's just kind of... It's basically an unwritten rule.
If you're in the England team, you're not struggling, are you? Probably.
No, for sure, yeah. So it's an unwritten rule. You obviously have to sign a waiver to say that you're happy with it going to charity.
Yeah. But I wonder if anyone's ever gone, do you know what? I want that money.
Mate, no chance. You would not even dare. Like, it's not a thing. It is definitely not a thing. No,
I don't know. It's a couple.
Nah, come on. No chance. No footballer is that tight. Not even Craig Dawson.
Is he tight as money? He gets pouters on this podcast.
No, he knows I love him though. He knows it comes from a good place, and even though I give him pouters, he knows that I've still got a special place reserved for him in my heart because I do love the guy.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? And then we'll just round off your kind of England time. So you talked earlier on about you had an exodus in the middle. Is that the right word? Hiatus?
Exodus?
Hiatus
definitely isn't the word.
Yeah, Exodus, yeah.
Exodus where like everybody leaves.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Hiatus.
Yeah.
In the middle. So you retire.
Sabbatical.
Okay, are we there on sabbatical?
Yeah, sabbatical.
Agreed on sabbatical.
Yeah, for sure.
So you had a sabbatical.
A short break.
You had a short break when you were with England, and you got nailed in the press for it because they didn't know the story. Now, without going into it, because we've talked about this in the past, you got promised second half in a match by Capello. Your son was born. They rushed you back. You didn't play. You retired because it was out of order.
I didn't retire, like I say, it was a sabbatical where I basically, I'd lost faith and lost my, trust really, respect for the manager. And like I say, my kids were babies, you know what I mean? Louis had just been born, Olivia was less than a year old, and every time the international break came along, it was a chance, a really good chance as well, to sort of rest your body, but spend some real quality time with the kids.
You missed quite a lot of milestones, didn't you, with the kids?
Yeah,
because of the way their birthdays
Well, not only that, the way their birthdays fall is middle of September. Like one's at the beginning, one's in the middle of September, and there's always an international break. So I would always be away for my daughter's birthday, for example. And it's a bugger, do you know what I mean? Especially when your kids are small, they want their dad there. And that for me that wasn't one of the only things, but couple it with all the other things, it kind of made it a very, very easy decision. And like I say, I wasn't number one choice at the time. Joe Hart was playing and he was incredible.
Yeah,
and
he was great.
Like it was that time where Joe Hart was just like, wow. Like I remember I used to just turn up to England training and watch him training, and I used to think, well, there's no point in me being here because this guy is a joke. Like, he was a joke. He's like, I always like say he's a bit like Tigger, like Winnie the Pooh, where he's just, mate, it's like, oh my God. Energy to burn. Like anything. Like, do you want to do this, Joe? Yep. I haven't even told you what we're doing, Joe. Don't care. You wanted to do it. I want to do it. Let's do something, yeah?
Love
like,
that.
just pure energy all the time. And I used to think, wow, mate, what a guy. What a wicked guy. So no, it was like a no-brainer for me. So I thought, go on a little bit of a sabbatical kind of thing. If the England manager changes, it's something that I could consider if they would be willing to have me back. I think everybody behind the scenes knew the score. You know what I mean? I know I kind of... It's not like I retire fully from England because all the other people know, like I say, the secretary, the other people in the hierarchy at England, yeah, they know kind of what's went on.
You did get nailed in the press,
yeah,
though.
for sure. And it's the way it goes. That's what comes with playing for England and doing something like that. It's part of the course.
But there is some more important things, you know, like your
for me,
your
there
son
is.
and
Yeah,
daughter, and
some people aren't built like that, and some
Three
people
lines on a chest. Some people are diehard about it.
Some people are diehard, and fair play to them. You know, everybody to their own. But no, for me, there was more important things, and no, I totally stand by every single decision I've made regarding that kind of thing.
Incredible. And what was the Capello camp like? You hear it wasn't a happy place.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly happy place. He was very strict. He was a very strict manager. There was there's a few stories I've got, but there was one in particular, right? So David Beckham was in the England team at this time, right? And we were playing at Wembley. I can't remember the game, but we were playing it at Wembley, and it was like the bit before you go out for the warm-up. So you normally get into the change rooms about an hour and a half before kickoff, right? You normally go out for the warm-up about 45 minutes before kickoff. So you have another 45 minutes before that where you're kind of just putting your kit on, you're getting changed, you might go and get a rub, you'll be doing a bit of stretching, that kind of stuff. And in the Wembley changing rooms, there's just space everywhere. Like, there's just space to burn. And Bex was in there doing I don't know, he was playing two-touch. I can't even remember who he was playing with. It was somebody I don't know, say Rio Ferdinand, for example. He was doing two-touch, right? He was doing this two-touch and keeping it up and blah-de-blah. And Capello has just bowled in, right? And he always just used to be in a bit of a... He always just used to have a bit of a cob on, basically, like a bit of a moody face kind of thing. So he came over and he walked straight in between these two players and just grabbed the ball and just walked off with it, as if to say... This is the changing rooms. Stop dicking about. And everybody just sort of watched it and was like, that's David Beckham. He's just nicked the ball off David Beckham. It was incredible. Everybody just sort of... But I understand being strict and that, yeah. But that makes everybody sort of look at it and go, oh, what a dickhead. Why'd you bother doing that?
But it's those moments when you are kicking a football around a changing room is when you build bonds, right?
Bonds, but you relax as well. You're about to go and play an international match knowing that there's 500 million people probably watching on telly that night. You want to just relax and do whatever comes natural. And he just went and did this and you just thought, oh my God, what are you doing? There's no need for that. But there was loads of other things as well. So when you're around the hotel and stuff like that, exact food. Let's just talk about food. So he wouldn't even condiments weren't a thing. It wasn't a thing. You
must have been dying.
Oh, I was fuming. It was fuming. Ketchup, no chance. Mayonnaise, no chance. Butter, no chance. Sauces weren't a thing. You weren't allowed sauces.
Were you allowed salt?
I think just about. Not much, honestly. He would sort of be watching players as well. He would be watching players what you're having and all that kind of stuff. Sauces weren't even really a thing. So pasta, a lot of the time, lads used to just have to put a little bit of a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese because you weren't allowed a lot, and a bit of olive oil on it or something.
On plain pasta?
On plain pasta because there just weren't no sauces for anything. He was a bit sort of draconian, really, a bit too strict. At the time, Joe Hart, he was the goalkeeper, and he had this massive problem with Joe Hart there. He used to say that his bum was too big. He always it was mad.
What?
Joe Hart, if ever you see Joe Hart, he's shredded, he's ripped, right?
See him on his Insta
and he always used to come up behind, and he didn't even call him his right name. He used to call him John. He used to call him John.
No, he did not.
I swear on my life. You ask Joe, he used
John
to.
Hart.
Joe would always just he'd go John, and he would look at his ass, and he would do this thing with his hands as if to say, your ass is too big, and then he'd walk off and he would go, my name's Joe. Having a laugh, he'd be like, yeah, but my name's Joe. And we would just start pissing ourselves laughing, me, him and Fraser. And it would be oh my God. And he would always just he was so weird, but hey, each to their own, he's an experienced manager. He's done a lot in the game, won a lot in the game, so who am I?
Well, you've just mugged him off for 10 minutes, so don't try.
I haven't mugged him off. It's just I think there's a time and a place for certain things, but for me personally, I didn't enjoy those times. Those times and
with
places.
England managers and looking at previous England managers in the past, my view would be, you look at it and say these guys are with their club teams, and they're training every day, tactically aware. When you come into the England setup, obviously there's got to be, playing in a different system and set up a certain way and have their own team tactics. But I would look at it, and my argument would be that in the recent years, I'm going like from 90 onwards, for example, the most successful managers we've had have been the ones that have brought the team together. So you look at Bobby Robson, Venables, Southgate, and I think it's a massive shame that Harry Redknapp never got the gig in those years when Steve McClaren was in, Capello was in, because surely a character like Harry Redknapp and Allardyce, which obviously didn't quite work out, surely that would be the ingredient, just bringing people together and team morale and feeling good.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think international football nowadays, or probably even back then, should have been just basically an extension of your playing for your football club, playing for whoever you play for, whether it's Chelsea, Man U, Leicester, whatever it is. It should just be an extension of that. It shouldn't be a massive change. So like I say, these lads, professional footballers know how to run their bodies. They know what to eat. They know when to work hard and not work hard. They know if they're lacking in a bit of fitness and stuff. So most of the time they'll do it themselves anyway. So when you go away on international duty and all of a sudden they say you're not allowed any ketchup, you're not allowed any butter for 1 week, it's not going to make any difference. Do you know what I mean? It's
just going to upset people.
It's just going to upset people and put their nose out in a time where you really want to just bring them together. And I think that's the beauty with what Gareth Southgate has done right now. It seems to me that everybody, I could imagine that everybody will just sit next to anybody. Like, it's not a thing anymore. There's no real cliques. People just get on with everybody. And you can see it, can't you? The way they do, like, they're really good at embracing the media,
holidaying together,
digital media, social media.
I love it. I'm really a big advocate for it. I love seeing it on
It's got
online,
me back into the England
and it's
thing.
genuine as well. This isn't like a thing they're trying to show they're a team. This is the players are sharing personal stories.
Yeah.
And see Saka jumping in the pool with GrEHS under his arm, and it's great, isn't it? That's what you want to see.
It is, but it's only because we've been given that access now. Whereas before there was always that standoff. There was
can you talk about when you were?
Yeah, when I was there,
what was it like? Was there a divide?
There were cliques, obviously, because you had the big teams, like you had the Liverpool team, you had the Man United team, and then you had the Chelsea team, and they were the three big, and the Arsenal to an extent. But you had the big ones where the majority of players were from these teams, but players from them teams would just sit amongst themselves and it's hard to tell them not to do that because they spend all day with them. Do you know what I mean? They're with them day-to-day life. They're their friends. They're probably their best friends. So they're going to sit with them at dinner. They're going to sit with them at lunch.
If you, Danny Rose and Clevs got called up, you'd probably sit and have dinner together.
Exactly, you probably would, because you've got something to talk about. You know each other. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. But I think that was almost a little bit of a problem, really, back then.
But was there any animosity?
No, there was definitely no. It was definitely not a spoken animosity. Anyway, it was a visual click forming where like you would have a group of 5 or 6 Chelsea players sitting there, and then you would have like a couple mingling kind of like, I don't know, Arsenal or Leicester players in between, and then you would have 5 or 6 Man United players, and then a couple more sprinkled in the middle, and then you'd have the Chelsea, whatever. It was definitely not spoken about, but you could see it was there. It was what it was, and I honestly don't think it really manifested it into anything on the pitch either. I just think we just didn't perform with the players that we had, because if you look at especially the pomp days of like Steven Gerrard and Scholesy, Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, bloody wow, what a team, a ridiculous team, like Rio Ferdinand,
Rooney,
exactly. We should have done more. We definitely should have done more. It's hard to say. It really is hard to say, but I think that then was when because we didn't allow that media sort of. They would have seen it as a media intrusion back then. They really would have done. Like, let us just play our football and get on with it, and then we'll go out on the pitch and do it. Whereas now it's, let's get everybody in there, all the cameras, all the media team, let's do interviews, everybody embrace it, everybody try and get on, and then we can all try and be on the same page. Whereas back then, it was a bit of a Mexican standoff where if we didn't perform on the pitch, we knew for a fact we would get slated. We would get absolutely mullered. And it's exactly how it went. Yeah, it's exactly how it went. So if we lost the game back then, it was the end of the world. There was
like a massive like Spanish Inquisition.
Every time. Do you remember? Do you remember Paul Robinson when we played away at Macedonia and Gary Neville passed him the ball back? It bobbled over his foot and went in the goal. And I think we ended up losing the game or drawing the game, or I think we might have even lost. It was a really horrible place to go anyway. We lost the game. And afterwards, my gosh, we got absolutely pumped. Like the media killed us. It's just the classic. These overpaid prima donnas going out to Macedonia, they couldn't handle the hostile atmosphere and they just melted under the pressure, all this kind of stuff. Paul Robinson, there was like literally a picture of Paul Robinson's face on the front of like the paper, like taking the mick out of him, like being horrible kind of thing. And I remember meeting up with the England squad a few like months later or whatever, and it had properly affected Robbo. It had properly got in his head. Like he was like, if I like my face was on the front of national newspapers, do you know what I mean? It should be just on the back. That should be what the talking point is. Like fair enough, like discussing the game or critiquing the game or something, but they were just taking the piss out of him. That's all they wanted to do. And it was like, it's like they were sitting there, like as soon as something bad happened, rubbing their hands like, oh my God, I cannot wait to stick the knife in it.
What about McClaren when we didn't qualify against Croatia? Yeah. Scott Carson had a bit of a stinker, didn't he? And it was Wally with the brolly. They love ridiculing people.
Loved it, yeah.
It's like Steve McClaren, I mean, I'm not in the game, but anyone you speak to, well, what was he like as a coach?
Yeah, great.
This is what
really
you hear.
Yeah, he was really good. Really, really good. Good guy, really good guy. I really liked him. He actually gave him my England debut, actually, Steve McClaren did. But just as a bloke, like he was just a really good bloke, really nice bloke, would speak to you properly, would explain stuff, respectful, all that, everything that you would want from a manager, really. But again, because he didn't really have that much of a weighty manager's name, that he was an easy target. He was an easy target, and they used to just get the daggers out every single game. Even if we would win games and it wasn't so convincing, they would still get the daggers out.
So what about, are there any managers you would have liked to have seen been given the England job over the years that haven't?
I'm with you on the Harry Redknapp one a minute ago. I think that would have been wicked. I think when you're away with England, you don't necessarily need the best coach. You don't, because they're all top players. They know how to play, and if you sit them down and say this is the system we're going to play, I think most of the lads will know their jobs and know their roles anyway, but you need somebody to bring people together, which is why I honestly think Gareth Southgate is an incredible England manager, because he, regardless of what you think of him as a manager, his experience, what he might have, what he might not have, you can see that the lads really like him. They love him to bits, and they'll run through walls for him because he's such a good, personable guy.
I feel like Southgate's gone one step further though and brought like the fans with him as well.
Totally agree.
Because he's likeable. He's done podcasts and stuff that I listen to.
He speaks so well. He speaks so well.
I know, let's get him on.
Let's get Gadger on the Fozcast.
Gadger, is that what they call him?
I ain't got a clue. Yeah, but I agree with you, mate. I totally agree with that. I
think it's fantastic.
He has. Yeah. He's made everybody an England fan again.
He's got us to a final.
He's got us to a final, mate. The Euro final. I went to the Euro final, and honestly, even though we've lost, it was incredible, mate. Yeah. It was wicked. Like
I remember that summer.
It made me feel like I was like 11, 12 again. Where you were? Would you remember when you used to be like a mad England fan? But when it was on telly, it was like the best thing ever.
I couldn't believe it when we went to the semis. We went to the semis, Italy, Spain, didn't we? I was really surprised by your reaction when we were in Wembley. And it was buzzing. The atmosphere in Italy, Spain was incredible, wasn't it? It was like a carnival inside the stadium. And I was like looking at you, and you were like really taken back by it. You like really enjoyed the occasion. And I said to you, when was the last time you went to a football match as a fan? And you went 20 years ago.
Yeah. Never. I don't think I've been to an England match as a fan.
Had a pint, didn't you?
Yeah, like it was incredible. Like it's so I can understand.
It's not that bad that side of the fence, is it?
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand why people live for the weekend and go on an away game and like travelling up and down the country and stuff like that. What a wicked laugh! If you're with a bunch of mates and you know you're having a good time, you got somebody who can drive, you can have a few pints.
It's my favourite thing to do.
It's world class. I'm going to do it after football for sure.
Football with the boys.
Yeah,
is
it's belting, isn't it?
Cracking weekend.
We've talked about it. Like when you do eventually hang up the gloves in 10 years, is we've said about doing like international vlogs, match day, away days at like like what Copper 90 do. And, do you know what, we're going to go to the El Clasico derby, we're going to go to, I don't know, like River Plate and Boca or something like that.
When's the Qatar World Cup? Next
winter.
Next winter. If I'm not retired, let's do that, lads.
The finals on the 23rd of December.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
The final, 23rd of
Boom,
December.
watch that and go
How
on.
strange is that?
So what do you reckon we should go? Little away days.
That'd be class, wouldn't it? Out there.
I'm in.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Warm as well, wouldn't
I can
it?
wear my shorts and flip-flops all day.
You'd wear it anyway. If it was in Russia, you'd wear your shorts and flip-flops.
Yes, I love it, lads. I love it.
Okay, so on the Qatar World Cup then, so if you're not playing, so here's a scenario for you.
If I'm not playing in the World Cup,
Wait there a second.
I would say it's a safe bet.
Here's the scenario. Rambo, Pope, Pickford, they all get injured. A few more get injured. You get the call from Southgate. Imagine cycling GK versus our mate King of Kong in the World Cup. How mental would that be?
Yeah, that sounds a little bit too over the top, to be honest with you. Yeah, that sounds a little bit far-fetched. I can't see that happening, to be honest.
Would you, if you got a call up now, would you go?
Yeah, I probably would, actually. It'd be a good laugh, wouldn't it? It'd be a good laugh. I think I'd
A chance
enjoy it.
you want match day vlogs.
No, I would. I'd enjoy it so much more. Like, say, when you get older, you just learn to just enjoy it all and just sort of embrace it and have a nice time. And I think I've got much better people skills than what I used to have. So I know for a fact I'd go away.
Yeah,
and
you
I'd
were
just
a
be like,
right awkward little rat.
yeah, I was. Like, it's the way that it goes, though. So I know for a fact I'd have a wicked time. Like, and some of these lads, they're like funny kids, aren't they? So it'd be class.
that's true. And then like international goalkeeping. So when you look at, talking about international goalkeeping, what is it like to be a British goalkeeper? So you come up through the British system and play versus the Italian, Spanish goalkeepers. Is it a very different playing style as a goalkeeper?
A little bit. Not a million miles away. I think.
What are the differences?
I think in this country, they've got a massive emphasis now on basically one of the first things they want you to be able to do is be good with the football at your feet. They need you to be good with the ball at your feet, and playing out from the back, honestly, it's a given now. It's incredible. I know that you could have two goalkeepers side by side and one could be miles ahead when it comes to diving around and catching and stopping the ball going in the back of the net. The other goalkeeper could be decent at that, but if he's the better one with his feet, he's the one that would get looked at more. He's the one that would be the preference, because they need. It's weird. I disagree with it personally. I think there's the biggest skill of being a goalkeeper is just knowing how to keep the ball out of the back of the net. And there's a million ways to do it, and I don't care how you do it. If you've got enough nous about you and enough ability to just be able to keep the ball out of the back of the net, I think that is the biggest part of being a goalkeeper. But like I say, nowadays the way that academies are, they want their goalkeepers. It's not like one. It's essential that you are good at playing the ball out from the back as well.
So who would be your? You're the manager. Who's your number one
in this country?
Yeah.
For England, I would still.
What currently now?
I would still. I think if you asked me this last year, I might have said Nick Pope, because I love Nick Pope and I think he's incredible. Like the guy is just a giant. He does everything I want a goalkeeper to do. He'll come out, take crosses, kicks it long, stops the ball going in the back of the net, which is massive, right? But if you ask me now who I think the England goalkeeper should be, I would say Jordan Pickford, for sure. Because the guy, when he goes away with England, is just on another level. I can't explain it.
He's a big game player, isn't he?
He's a big game player, and I think it just suits him down to the ground. I think the England team suits him better than any other team. I really do. Unless he's playing for one of the big boys. I think if he could, like Jordan Pickford's the kind of guy that could play for someone like Man City or Bayern Munich, or do you know what I mean? Somebody like that, where they want him to just get the ball down, spray it out from the back, and sweep up behind, all that kind of stuff. He's that sort of goalkeeper.
But I think the thing I like about Pickford is past the football skills that he clearly has. His passion for the game is insane. He is shouting at everyone. He means like every minute of the game. Like
he's had to work.
He's
on
so
that,
animated as well.
But he has had to work on that, because that was kind of almost bubbling over a little bit at one point. And I think you spoke before about him just channeling that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think he's just learned to, like you say, just rein it in a little bit. Don't get so emotionally invested.
Joe was very hyped up, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. I don't think you can get that emotionally invested in what has just happened, because then you start letting your mind wander, you let your emotions take over, and then you're not doing what you know you should be doing. Like you need to be staying steady and calm all the way through, like the good, the bad, the indifferent. You just stay on that same trajectory and you'll be sweet. And I think he's learned to do that, just sort of tempered it a little bit.
So sorry Frank, go on.
Aaron Ramsdale coming up the ranks, signed for Arsenal, doing really well. They're actually getting points now. Will he be a number one for England one day.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a chance. You got to remember, Jordan Pickford's still fairly young in terms of a goalkeeper. I think.
How old is he?
He's got to be late 20s, but he's still probably got 5 or 6 years of playing.
Rambo's what, 21,
22? Yeah. So. But Aaron Ramsdale's a proper goalie. Like, I love him to bits. I think he's wicked.
He left Bournemouth, man.
No, yeah, sorry, man. But he's
27, Jordan.
It's like Jordan Pickford's still got another 5, 6, 7 years probably of playing top level for football. Aaron Ramsdale, though, like I say, is a proper goalie. He does everything I want a goalie to do. Again, he's almost a bit like Nick Pope, really, where he'll stop the ball going in the back of the net. He'll come for crosses. He's agile, as you like. You've seen it, and he's only been playing for 4 or 5 games for Arsenal, and he's already started to show glimpses of what he can do. And I'm buzzing for him as well, because he's not only a wicked goalie, but a wicked bloke as well. I think one thing about goalkeepers is most goalies are top men. They're top blokes. They're just calm, casual. I'm not being a dickhead. They are. They're down to earth. They get it. They're handsome. They've got good people skills. They're like a lot of the time they're like the glue in the dressing room. Always up for a laugh. Always up for a night out. Having a few beers.
I've got one for you, Dan. This might be like a logistical nightmare, but can you try and get yourself and 3 other goalkeepers all around this table and just have a chat, all things goalkeeping?
Goalkeeping Union podcast.
Goalie chat would be good,
just
wouldn't it?
4 keepers.
Yeah.
Like you, Rambo.
Oh, it'd be gold, lads. It would gold. We could all bring our own goalie gloves in, yeah? We could all be like looking at them, smelling them, sniffing.
That'll be a technical episode that way, won't it?
But I think that's a great conversation to have.
Well, look, actually, when you said earlier on about not too many notable players from the area, I disagree. There are some other different sports, but actually Warwickshire, slightly broader area from where we're actually from, a lot of goalkeepers, weren't they? So Dean Kiley was Warwick,
yeah, for sure.
So he was Republic of Ireland, Charlton for many years. Tim Flowers, Blackburn, England, Kenilworth, literally down the road from us. These 2 towns are like 3 miles apart from each other. And then we've had Chris Kirkland up the road, 5 miles up the road, Coventry.
Actually, I take it back. I apologise. It's basically a hotbed for goalkeepers. Yeah, it must be something in the water. There is. I like I say, I'll take it back. I don't know where to go from here for that.
Sorry, I wasn't
nice one, Tom.
I wasn't trying to dig you out.
Totally stitch him up.
Yeah. But I was saying about the Goalkeeper Union podcast, we could maybe do a local one or something. Like that.
Do you know what? Goalies are wicked, because if you sit a bunch of goalies right in front of a telly and say, right, watch these goals going in, and so you showed the one goal, right? I guarantee you, we could all sit there and you could talk about every tiny little thing that has happened. Even if the goalie can't save it and it's impossible to save, you can always give him the best chance of making the save by saying, this is what you could do or can do.
Let's do that. Let's get 4 keepers. Me and Tom would dig up 10 goals and we just go through them one by one, and you guys chat.
Goalie
I would love to.
Goalie chat is wicked, honestly, because you can really kind of, if you're able to sort of like slow it down and freeze frame and like frame by frame of everything that goalkeeper has done for that goal going in. There's guaranteed things that you can change. You're still not going to save the ball, but it will give you a better chance of saving it. It's incredible, honestly. I love it.
If we get 3 or 4 goalies, then we get Gnev. Gaznev, just with his fancy computer doing his all his
No, do you know what it would be? Gnev would be saying he should save that, and then the beauty of what we could do though is say the reason why he didn't save it. He might be right. We could still say, yeah, sure, he still should have probably saved it, but this is the reason why he didn't.
Okay,
because it's never just as simple as he should have saved it. There has to be a reason why he didn't save it, whether it's poor technique or the ball moves or anything. It doesn't matter what it is. There would be a reason why he didn't make that save.
Okay, that's interesting. And then when you talked about British players, British goalkeepers now being preferred from like playing at the back, playing from the back, rewind a few years, and I remember at the time, I think it was like 14 or something. Do you remember when England did this new DNA, and it was this kind of England DNA, and it was like a blueprint, and this was like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Fast forward to where we are now, and it's no coincidence, is it?
It seems like it's doing a bit of a job, to be perfectly honest.
So St George's Park.
Yeah, sure.
This is where that DNA is.
Yeah, I understand. Based. I know what you're saying. I think there's still, you still have to unearth these gems. These players have to come through.
Yeah, but are they not unearthed because they've been coached a different way? So look at it. I can't see that it's a coincidence now that we've got all of these technical forwards that have all come through within a year of each other.
Yeah, true. Sometimes you do get waves like that. You look at the classic Man United team
Spanish
of
midfield.
players. Yeah, you look at the Man United youth team squad that came through. Sometimes you just get that happen. But I will agree that they do seem to be of a different ilk to what they used to be. I still think there's an element of you can't coach it to within an inch of its life. You still have to have a little bit of a nous about
Nature
it.
and nurture, yeah.
But no, I just mean I think sometimes you can overcoach and you can say at this moment in time do this, and it has to be black and white as that. I think you still need to have a bit of nous about you where you can just go, right, once you get into that area, then you just do what you want to do what you see, and go and show us why you have got that little bit of X factor about yourself.
It's interesting you say that, because again, like just looking at it as a not involved in the game, as a fan, as a fan, I always say it. Frank tells me off for saying as a fan, but it is true. As a fan, you look at it, and I always looked at the raw talent coming through, Wayne Rooney's, Michael Owens, Theo Walcott's, and they were frightening. And then it's almost like they got a bit of coach, a bit of like 2 or 3 years of playing in the big league. Then they'd start holding the ball up, laying it off, rather than turning and pinning their ears back and just going at the defence. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's just talk about Rooney there. Okay, so talk about Rooney. So Rooney was just the most...
A beast.
He's a beast. He was basically just a beast, right? And he was just the most... I was going to say angry then, but he's just a winner. Like, he was a winner. So like, all these players, all these incredible players, they've all got a million different attributes, yeah? I still think one of the biggest attributes you can have is just to be a winner. I think doggedness, just to always want to get on the end of anything, always be willing to just stick your foot in and chase stuff down. And you might get hurt, but I don't care. I'm still going to do it, right? That bit is, as a manager, if you see your players got that, it's like, oh my God,
you can't teach that.
No, you can't. A lot of it's inbuilt for that, for sure. Most of that is inbuilt.
But what about it being coached almost out of them? The kind of just the raw.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. Like, you don't get very many raw players now playing in the Premier League. It is coached. It is coached, and like I say, only the very, very top players you can coach them to a point, but then you say, once you get to there, this is where I need to see some magic. And most of the time, it's once you get into the box. Yeah, most of the time, what the coaches will say is, if you've got the ball at your feet and you've just got into the box, then it's up to you. Either drop a shoulder, beat your man, take a shot. You might see legs open, go for the legs, do what you do, but I'll leave that up to you.
With Rooney, it was like, it was right at the end of his career when he obviously, not right at the end, but when he went to the States. I remember this clip, and that doggedness never leaves him. And do you remember he was playing, where was he playing?
It was the one where he ran back from the clearance, tackled him, and
hit a diagonal
from about 60 yards onto the lads, brought the goalie out. The goalie went for it like a fish, like, do you know what I mean? It was incredible. The striker got in the end, headed it in, and you just see Rooney knackered, but just sort of fling his arms up as if to say, buzzing. Exactly that. That is that doggedness that I think they should show young kids nowadays. And if they will watch that, then you could say that's just done that is probably one of England's best ever strikers. Yeah. He's in the twilight of his career. He's out in America. It probably doesn't matter anymore, but he still has got that in him to go and do that. That for me is
just pure drive. And you would never lose it.
Yeah, but he strikes me as the kind of bloke that he could probably turn up at Soccer AM in the car park doing all those things, and he's like, I want to win.
Mate, it doesn't matter. Once the whistle goes, he's good to go. He is good to go. But I still think that Rooney never ever probably got the respect that he deserved on his name. Because if you go talking about world class strikers, like, people never ever fully really mentioned Rooney in the same breath.
I agree. I saw Rio doing something recently and he said exactly that.
Yeah.
He's quite passionate about it and said, people don't give this
man.
guy the credit. People stood against. What he said was people stood next to him in the tunnel and were like in awe and fear of this guy.
Mate, when he was on it, honestly, there were times in games where Sir Alex Ferguson used to have to sort of try and get near him or get next to him and go like, calm down. You have to calm down.
No way.
Like, he always used to say this thing, Sir Alex Ferguson did it when we played against Everton. He always used to make a point of saying, don't get sent off. do not get sent off, because he knew Everton was his big game. Like, he was going to get a load of abuse from the fans. He wanted to win. He wanted to score goals, and it would mean he would just, give extra.
And Everton would be pressing his buttons as well.
Exactly, of course they would. They would be giving him dog's abuse. The players would be niggling him, trying to get into him, trying to get him sent off. And it was always a thing of, do not get sent off. Calm yourself down. Do not get sent off. Incredible. That's
amazing.
Animal. What a player.
Yeah, we've gone tangent in there, but that's
good
the best.
Though, isn't it?
That's the best.
Going back to international, every now and again you see Southgate watching a Premier League game, watching the players. Do you think that adds pressure onto the players if they know Southgate's there, like being an English footballer?
Yeah, I think.
So if he's going to watch James Ward-Prowse, for example.
Yeah. So it depends who they're playing. Obviously, if Southampton are playing against Chelsea, there's a few players that he could be there watching. If it's Southampton against Norwich, he's pretty much there for James Ward-Prowse. But that is part and parcel of it. But
there still could be someone that's plays an incredible game. That it's their moment to show Southgate.
It's everybody's moment. I think. Well, nowadays with how accessible English football is, especially the Premier League, every single game you play is a chance to show and prove yourself to somebody that might be watching somewhere, that might need a right back or a left back that's defensive, or a left back that's attacking or likes to come inside, or different teams need different players to do different things. Yeah. So it's always a chance to do it. But if you're somebody take for example there, James Ward-Prowse, if he's coming to that game, that's part and parcel of it. You need to be able to rise to that occasion and just do what you normally do, so that when it comes to being an international game at Wembley in front of 80,000 people and the watching worlds on the telly, you need to be able to just do it relentlessly.
But it's differently though. If you've been in and around the England setup, it's probably one thing and it's a bit of a water off a duck's back. But if you've not been capped, so for example, when you were breaking your way into the England team, did you ever know that an England coach was coming to watch you? Were you given a heads up? Are players told, like say an uncapped player saying, do you know what? Southgate's assistant, Steve Holland's here to watch you today.
Mate, it goes a lot further than Southgate, Steve Holland, and then every other one. There's probably 50 of them. There'll be 50 of them that go to every single game up and down the country and will have to watch 3 or 4 players. So there's nobody will slip under the radar. Nobody can slip under the radar. Everybody is being watched. Every single player is being watched by somebody from within that England camp. Like I say, there could be 50 scouts going on a Saturday to games, Championship, League One, Premiership, watching certain players. It's not just as simple as, apparently this left back for Southampton's quite good, so Gareth, do you want to go and watch him and make your mind up? Nah. The due diligence has already been done.
It's amazing, isn't it? And then for England, because the big debate in the summer was they were obviously got injured, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and they were like, he's not going to go. And they were like, he's the best fullback in the world or whatever. Or he was being talked to and they were saying he's not going to go. And then there were people arguing, I think it was Gary Neville, who was saying, well, look at it. Look at the team setup. It's not that he's not good enough. It's just he's not right for the team.
That's it. That's all it was. He just wasn't right for the team.
So players will be picked specifically. Because a big thing in the World Cups and the Euros in years gone by is they always like to take a kind of utility defender, don't they? It was like I guess like a Phil Neville or someone that can slot in. A Kyle Walker, like now he'll kind of play wing back. He'll play one of
centre back. He can do anything.
One of the 3 at the back. But they're valuable players to have, aren't they?
Well, I think just looking at the performances and how well the team did, I think his decision was fully justified as well. Kyle Walker, basically, like any left back that came up against England in the Euros must have seen Kyle Walker at right back and thought, oh, for God's sake. There was one time, I can't remember, it was the second or third game, it might have been Scotland or whatever, and the guy had 20 yards on Kyle Walker, and Kyle Walker, it's almost like he wanted to wait until it was 20 yards so he could show him up even more.
Yeah.
And he still got back and he still bullied him and weighted him off the ball and then just strolled back out with the ball again. It was incredible. And we were watching every single game going, oh my God, how good is Kyle? How fast is Kyle? How strong is Kyle Walker? Luke Shaw, the same, just came into his own, went from being a decent left back to showcasing it on a world stage, just how good of a left back Luke Shaw is. It's incredible, isn't it?
Roberto Carlos.
Yeah, Shawberto Carlos. Boom. But how good was he in the Euros? Like a guy. What a guy.
I tell you what's just a memory that's popped back in my head from when we were kids. Is when did you get called? When did you start England? Did you say 05?
Yeah, 05, 06, yeah.
When was the Japan World Cup?
That was before that. That was that'd have been 2000 or 2002, something like that, yeah.
So 3 years before you were called up into the England team, you know where I'm going with this. 3 years before we would be out in Leamington, and a few of us would stay at my mum's house.
We'd be 19, 20 years old, yeah.
Yeah, and you were doing the Mackie D's run for the double sausage and eggers in the morning, weren't you?
Yeah, we were, yeah, because there was an early game. It kicked off at stupid o'clock on
so we'd go out.
The time zones and stuff. So we'd go out the night before. I remember leaving early doors to go and do a good old Mackie D breakfast run, double sausage and egg.
We were all asleep.
All
asleep. Ben would not drink as much as everyone else. Yeah, right. So Ben had come back. And we're waking up, and he's done the Mackie D's run.
Like a treasure trove.
He was like a god.
Mackie D.
He was like a god. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was incredible. The door would open. It would I would glow with oh my god, you hero,
the saviour,
saved the day. But then that was good old memory. That wasn't it? Yeah.
Right. Should we do a couple of quick fires about going away with England?
Yes.
Let's do it.
So, do you get drivers?
Yes, you do. So basically, what happens is. So it's like I say, most of the time the team will report to St George's Park now. England the secretary lady will send you a message personally to say, where do you want picking up from say if you're meeting up on Sunday night, where do you want picking up from on Sunday? And they'll know how long it'll take, sort of thing. So they'll say, right, this car will pick you up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And that's it. He will come pick you up. You've got all your bags, all your stuff, all your boots, everything like that, because you'd have taken it from whatever team you play for. You'd make sure you've got enough gear, make sure you've packed your own bag, your laptop, your whatever.
With the luggage, though, because everyone turns up with England luggage, so do they send it out to you prior to you going?
No, you pick it up when you're there. So a lot of the time, they've already just got it from the last trip. Yeah, so they'll have England luggage from the last trip. If it's your first time joining up, you're joining up in your own clothes with your own bags.
Odd man out.
Yeah, so you're like the odd man out. So
here comes the new kid.
This is one of the things of where guaranteed they'll have sent a text saying, "What do I wear?" It's genuinely like that.
Lovely.
What do I wear?
So do you think anyone's been down to JD and bought himself an England polo shirt?
That's world class if they've
done
that. That is if somebody's ever done that, that is absolutely top class. Fair play to them. But most of the time, you're just joining up in your jeans, your trainers, and like a hoodie or something.
So if anyone in the comments has got a friend or anyone that's involved that's got any quirky little story like that,
that's belting. That is absolutely belting. No, you'll join up in your jeans, all that kind of stuff. Like I say, the car will come pick you up, then they take you straight to St George's, and they basically drop you next to the kit room. So they drop you next to the kit room. You are straight in to see Pat Frost, who's the kit man, legend of a bloke. And he will basically take all your football equipment off of you. He'll take your shin pads, your boots, if you're goalie, your gloves, anything like that. You give it to him and he will sort all that stuff out. There's times when you're away with England where you might, even if you haven't brought any boots or something like that, because most of their lads are sponsored by Nike or Adidas or something like that, you literally just say to Pat, I need another pair of boots, mate. And he's got the Adidas guy on speed dial, he's got the Nike guy on speed dial. It's he needs these boots tomorrow for training. They'll be there that night or the next morning.
Or just add a couple of extra pairs.
Yeah, but they do. They'll bring a couple pairs just in case.
So let's just say you've just got called up for England. Does England have access to your club's data?
Yes.
Can they ask for that?
Yes.
And they have to give it?
What, performance? And
just like all your
medical
documents
notes.
and medicals and everything like that.
For sure. This is where the club and England have to work together.
Yeah.
Because the club are handing over what could be £100 million talent to England to look after. Because
England aren't going to do medicals for you and stuff. They just assume that your club has done that.
No,
right?
they do everything. They will literally do everything. So when you join up with England, assuming that you're fit, which is the only time really you will be joining up. So if you've got a little niggle,
in itself,
sometimes if you've got a little niggle, you'll join up and they'll be like, no, you're best off just going back to your club because you're not going to be fit for the game anyway. So you're best off just getting fit for the next Premier League game. Cool, you'll go home. But when you join up, this is where the two have to work together. So like I say, Liverpool might be handing over £100 million player to England to look after for 10 days. Yeah, if it's just a normal international break, at which point they have to say, right, this player does this on a Monday, this on a Tuesday. These are his loads. These are his heart rate values. This is what he might get up to. This is how many kilometres he would normally run on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So they know to basically just not mirror it, but similar-ish.
Cool, sure.
So that they're always doing the same sort of thing. He might have just come off the back of a bad injury where he really needs to catch up on his fitness, so they can say, right, guys, after training, can Trent Alexander-Arnold do some extra running because he's missed out on a bit of a block of running and he just needs to improve his fitness a little bit. This is where the two clubs talk. Yeah, cool. After training on Monday, Trent, you got to do a bit of extra running. Yeah, not a problem. Boom. That's exactly how it works.
So it's like a big collaboration, isn't it? So when you think of England, there's all of the clubs coming together and actually...
Doesn't always work out that way, because you hear about the odd public feud in the press, don't you, where the club doesn't want them to go.
Yeah, of course.
The country does. What's that dynamic like?
That's I think this is where the player gets sort of caught in the middle a little bit, really, because it's one of those where if you get called up for England, again, it's that pride thing. Yes, I need to go and join up with my national team. You know for a fact that if you don't, you're going to get abused for it. But you'll do what you need to do. Like, if you have got a little niggle or a little injury, you go to England. The club will have already warned England and said, listen, he's been struggling with this. We would prefer it if he just rested for a week. He can just stay back at the training ground. He hasn't got to worry about driving here or there or everything. He's back at the training ground. We can keep an eye on him. He will hopefully get rid of this little niggle and he'll be fit for the next Premier League game and the future. Do you know what I mean? But we just need to nip it in the bud now. This is where, when they go away with England, somebody has to make a sensible decision. They have to look at the bigger picture, really. But it doesn't always work out that way.
Sometimes they get an injury, don't they? Do you remember when Dean Ashton finished his career?
I was on the pitch. We were training. It was a training session.
Explain to everybody about that.
So we were training at Old Trafford before a game for England. I can't remember who it was against. And it was maybe the day before or 2 days. It would have probably been the day before, because you normally trained on the pitch the day before the game just to get a feel for your surroundings and stuff. And we were just doing our goalkeeping work. It was kind of still fairly early-ish on in the training session. We were doing our goalkeeper work, and then all of a sudden you just heard this almighty scream, and it was one of those where you think, oh, somebody's done something really bad. You don't often hear it in football. It might be once a season or something, but when you hear that scream, you know somebody's hurt themselves, because a lot of football, especially in training, they don't go screaming. They just sort of, they've hurt themselves, they'll stay down, and then you'll find out later they've hurt themselves. But you could hear this sort of like, oh, horrible, horrible, and he's done something to his ankle really badly. Like we didn't go over to have a look and all that kind of stuff, but he's done something really bad, and that was it. That was basically the end of his career.
It was such a shame, because he was really on, because he started at Crewe, didn't he? Yeah. And he really on the ascendancy.
Yeah, went to Norwich, was doing really, really well. West Ham.
Did he score a bicycle kick again?
Yeah, he was a big tank, mate. He was a big old strong lad, and he was just really starting to do a bit in football. And this like I say, I think why he's done it so bad is because he was a big lad, so he's obviously landed a bit awkwardly on his ankle, put his whole body weight through it. Oh, poor lad. But that was it. That was the end of his career. So massive shame, that really. But that was never nice when you hear that scream, and you just you know somebody's done something really bad.
Not good. Right, okay, just back to some quick fires. You always stay in the best digs, don't you, with England?
Yeah, you do, actually. You do. Like I say, St George's Park, it's I wouldn't say it's the best digs in the world, but it's all you need for a football camp. Do you know what I mean? It's literally focused around sport and being the best you can be. There's not too many distractions. Can
you just call room service and say, no, a little mac and cheese?
You cannot call room service. When you're away with England, you go and have food when food is served, and because that's, again, it's that thing of knowing that England need to know that you're putting the right fuel into your body, basically.
Is it a buffet or off a menu?
No, it's a buffet. It's a buffet thing. It's very similar to, like, if people watch the Cycling GK, it'll be a very similar layout to that, where you have like all the veggie stuff, all the salady stuff, then you'll have all the hot plates of food, different meats, different like could be rice, noodles, whatever it is, and then you have a bit of a pudding section. I do have to say that the chef with England was always world class. Honestly, he would always make it just a little bit tastier. It was beautiful. Because like I said, players know what they can and can't eat. They're not going to go fill their bodies with absolute crap or anything like that. Saying that, one thing they do like to do is after a game, if we're talking about after games, that's when it's like a free for all. Like they will get pizzas in, they could have burgers, chips, no matter what it is, because it's basically, it's a free hit. You've just ran for 90 minutes. You've burnt probably 3,000 calories. Fuel your body, lads. And it's like it's a problem if you're a goalkeeper. I will not lie.
Watching all of that.
It's a joining in.
Okay.
Joining in when I know I haven't earned it. That's the problem, is because all this lovely food's there and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't help myself. So you go and get involved and you're munching away, you're choffing away. But I haven't done the running, so then I have to pay for it the next day and do a bit of extra work.
Are training sessions hard with England? I can imagine it's more light training with England.
No, it'll be
sessions?
exactly the same as what it is when you're with your football club. Really, if you join up on a Sunday and your game isn't till the Friday or Saturday, Monday, Tuesday are going to be hard days. They will be hard days because you need to maintain that level of fitness. And then as you get closer to the game, you'll start to taper it down a little bit. So Wednesday will be a bit more chill. Thursday, Friday, you're just talking tactics and getting ready for the game.
Right, okay, so here's one for you. You're not going to give me an honest answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you ever meet up in each other's rooms and have a couple of cans of Foster's or something?
No, God, no, heck no. No,
Don't believe you.
No,
Amaretto?
That is not a done thing.
Johnny Blue?
No, definitely not. That is not a done thing.
What about after the end of a meet or something, or you've won a big game? Have you ever been involved in a camp where we go, we're going to go out for a couple of beers? Is that ever?
You don't really do it in the middle of a camp. You can't. You're on international duty. You're representing England when you're away with England. You cannot go to the pub and get seen having a pint.
Can you imagine that? Though? Yeah.
Can you imagine like sneaking people into hotel rooms and stuff?
No, they wouldn't do that. No chance. Don't believe it.
How did Foden get away with it then?
Who? No, I don't know what you're on about.
Not getting involved in this. I'm not getting involved.
Allegedly, I think, Frank.
What was it?
No, that's not a dumb thing. Players will play a lot of the time. Lads will just go to like the communal area and they're playing, like you say, you got your PlayStation, you have a dartboard, pool, table tennis, all that kind of stuff. You'll go there. A lot of the time, again, it's like most football clubs. A lot of people will spend a lot of time in the medical room because that's always like, that's where the hub is. That's where people go. And
the kitchen, as you call it.
Yeah, you congregate, you have a chat, you get on well with the physios. All the physios are like-minded people anyway, so you always end up going there, kind of thing.
So who's the biggest like sport billy in England, like table tennis, pool? Who's like the best at it, or was it? It was a competitive.
Yeah, Joe Hart he's a sport billy. He used to play cricket a lot. He was good at everything. Like I say, energy to do everything. So guaranteed he never sits still. So he's always trying to practice at these games, do these games. He was wicked, honestly, he was wicked.
And who was the best player you played with at England?
In my whole England career?
Yep.
When I played for England, the best player with them was...
Let me break this down. Sorry to interrupt you. Best goalkeeper
that I've played with England.
In England, yeah, with the England setup.
Joe Hart.
Defender?
John Terry.
Midfield?
Gerrard.
Up top?
Rooney. Gerrard. I was there with Scholesy and Gerrard, but for England, Gerrard was always the one for me. He was incredible with England.
Do you know what? He was like a racehorse, wasn't he?
Can we do that again, but with current team?
Yeah.
Goalkeeper?
Current England team?
Yeah.
Pickford.
Defender?
Slabhead.
Slabhead.
I love Slabhead.
Legend. He turns up for England every single time, doesn't he? I love him for England.
And I wouldn't want him to punch me.
No, heck no. Or headbutt you.
Definitely not. Midfield. Cool. Well, yeah, okay.
That's a tough one.
That's really tough. I don't know even if he's a midfielder or not. Raheem Sterling, I don't know if that counts. He's kind of a forward.
You don't know these days, do you?
No, I don't know. I love Calvin Phillips as well. I think Calvin Phillips is really good. I love Declan Rice actually as well. It's hard. I can't pick one.
I think Calvin Phillips was my number one for
Calvin
Euros.
Phillips. We played against Leeds the other day and he's a very good player, mate. Very good player.
Fantastic,
he's an animal. He's always on it.
Okay, up front?
Obviously, Harry Kane. Harry Kane's the man. I don't care if he's had a indifferent start to this season. He is incredible and he will rise to the top again.
Who's your brightest prospect for the future?
Phil Foden, for sure. Did you see him against Liverpool the other day? Man City, for guys, anybody that hasn't watched this game yet, Man City played against Liverpool the other day. It was outrageous. The standard was phenomenal. The first time in history ever they've had a joint man of the match, which is, it's horrible. That is pathetic, isn't it? A joint man of the match.
You can't do
A joint man of the match.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like not having a loser at sports day, isn't
Exactly.
it?
For God's sake, it is what it is. Just give it to one person. You're not going to cry about it if they're not been given the man of the match. But yeah, Phil Foden is just he's showing everybody already what he can do, and I think he's still got room to improve as well.
I put you on the spot a little bit with this one, but is there any uncapped player that you think playing in the Premier League or players you would like to see involved?
I don't. Has he got any caps? Harvey Barnes? I don't know if he's got any caps.
Oh, I don't.
Either way, I think he's got a massive future. I really do. I think he's lovely. He's built really well. He's a strong lad. He's a really strong lad. I think he's just got back into the Leicester team. He's showing what he can do, and I think he's going to be a proper player. Really nice player. Lovely. Like
it. Frankie, have we got any more questions?
I think that's it.
Can we talk about what goes on back at the football clubs when...
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, it's your podcast, mate. You talk about whatever you want.
Let's talk about it. All right. So, like I say, it's international break now. We played our last game on Saturday. The last Premier League game gets played on the Sunday, right? So what normally happens is... So I'll give you my working week, for example, okay? Played against Leeds on the Saturday. We had the Sunday off. We are in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hard training. It is brutal. There's only 12 players. There's only 12 first team players back.
Is it more focused then? Because the other guys are gone.
Yeah, it's literally just like graft time.
Fitness.
You are working. Yeah, you are working. That's all there is to it. So it's hard, but there's only 12 of us, so the lads run their nuts off. But then we'll do a lot of like 6-a-sides or 5-a-sides, and then you'll rotate and stuff like that, which is a good laugh at least. You always do that to finish your sessions. Then we will have the weekend off, which is beautiful. This is what I'm talking about. It's a weekend off. And some clubs do it completely differently. Some clubs will give you 4 or 5 days off. So a lot of players would go away somewhere.
You used to go away,
We used to go away, whatever, somewhere warm.
Yeah.
You'd go away for 4 or 5 days, which for me is honestly the best feeling in the world, knowing you can get a bit of sun, just switch off from football. It is absolutely world class. But yeah, we've got weekend off, and then we are back in on Monday because our game is next week against Liverpool. So that is what it's like at Watford. But like I say, other clubs are completely different. You could get given 4, 5, 6 days off in the middle of it, which is it's world class, honestly.
So what happens, so if you go away, if you're a physio, a chef or something, and you go away with the England team, is it just your deputies that pick up the slack?
Back at the club. Yeah. Basically, they know what it is, and they just fill in. But like I say, most Premier League clubs will have the majority of their squad will go away on international duty, so there's less people around the training ground anyway. You know, if you're someone like Liverpool, literally every player is going away. So you're basically just working with the injured players, the reserve team players. That's it. So like even now at Watford, we're having to call in 4 or 5 youth team players or reserve team players just to make the numbers up so that the training sessions can flow and work properly.
So with certain players that are flying to South America, Africa, they must come back absolutely knackered.
Yeah, this is a bit for me that, like, I don't know why they put the games on so late. So sometimes like these players that play for some teams in Africa, for example, they might only have 2 games, but what they'll do is they'll play them on Saturday night or Sunday night and then the following Thursday. So by the time they get back to the club, it's like basically Friday night, the night before the Premier League starts again. Whereas why don't they just play the first game on like the Wednesday after the Premier League game and then on a Saturday or Sunday? Do you know what I mean? It gives everybody a lot more time to get back into the country, especially now with all this the COVID stuff like that, where you need to sort of isolate and stuff for 5 days and stuff. But yeah, it's mad. Like I say, we lost against Leeds on Saturday, and a lot of the interviews I did after the game were, well, you know, at least you've got 2 weeks now to, you know, refresh and work together to put things right for the Liverpool game next Saturday. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
But
not at all.
That's a load of bollocks, isn't it? That's just people not showing common sense, reporters, is it? Exactly.
It's complete rubbish, because all the team are away. The whole team are away.
Yeah.
We don't get to see them until next like Wednesday, Thursday, in which case they're all knackered anyway. So it's not like you get a chance to get back on the training pitch and go, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. No, it's a complete myth that they think the international break is a chance to refresh and rewind and get stuff ready for the next game.
Very good. Very good. I think.
Love it.
Are we good, Frank? Have we asked all of our dorky questions?
I feel like I know a bit more about international break.
Do you know what?
Good. Well, that was the objective.
Thank you,
That was the objective of the pod today. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do not forget to subscribe. Go and hit that red button. We need as many of you subscribing to our channel as is possible.
We would like to get 100k plaque for the Fozcast YouTube channel.
Oh, that would
and
be
when we
banging.
do, we're going to do...
It's going to sit here as well.
And we're going to do a naughty giveaway.
What? Like what?
I don't know, but we're going to do a naughty
We'll
giveaway.
sort some anyway. We'll do a lovely, lovely giveaway for 100k, and also on Spotify. Please go and follow us over on Spotify. We're enjoying doing these pods, aren't we?
Love it.
We've got
Massively.
some bouting guests lined up. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. From Frank and Tom.
He's just pointed at... Yeah, it's all right.
See you soon.
See you later.
Up the Fozcast.
Up the Fozcast.
Up the Fozcast.
Cheers.
Come on, the boys.